Have a nice day. I am Chandrika Veerappan, Senior Commissioner, Customer Supporting and Promotion. I am warmly welcome all of you who are logging this online program regarding the tax awareness conducted by the Inland Revenue Department. As you know, we have already released several online awareness programs to the YouTube and many people had visited. We know that were very fruitful to you. How? According to the comments kept by you. However, this time we wish to reach you regarding information with new tax named Social Security Contribution Levy imposed by the government recently. We use short name as SSCL, effective from 1st October 2022. Rate is 2.5%. So, today our resource person Ms. Dushani Chansri, Senior Deputy Commissioner of Tax Policy and Planning Branch. She is very experienced presenter. She will discuss regarding the tax law, registration procedure, how to fill in the returns and other necessary requirement of SSCL. If you not clear something, you can call her and clear it. Please prepare this program and let us know what should be improved any further. It will help us to improve next program. So I would like to invite now Ms. Dushani continue this program. Thank you very much for all.
Welcome. In this program, we are expected to provide a brief explanation on Social Security Contribution Levy. Social Security Contribution Levy is imposed with effect from October 1st, 2022 by the Social Security Contribution Levy Act number 25 of 2022. The Social Security Contribution Levy is payable by any person who is importing any article into Sri Lanka, any person who carries on a business of manufacture of any article, and any person who carries on the business of providing service of any description, and any person who carries on a business of wholesale or retail sale. For the wholesale and retail sale, the sale of goods imported or sale of locally purchased goods are included. The persons who are explained earlier are required to register for this tax if their aggregate turnover within the 12 months immediately prior to the date of operation of this act exceeded 120 million rupees within 15 days from the operation of this act. As example, if your turnover for the 12 months ended from September 30th 2022 is exceed 120 million, then you are required to register for this tax on or before 15th October 2022. Any person who does not fall under this category is required to register for this tax if their turnover for any quarter exceeds 30 million rupees, and there you have to register within 15 days from that exceed. Turnover for the purpose of Social Security Contribution Levy is explained in Section 3 of the Social Security Contribution Levy Act. And for the purpose of importation, the value that is ascertained for the purpose of VAT according to the Value Added Tax Act is the liable value at the point of customs. In case of a manufacturer of goods, the sum receivable from the sale of any article manufactured in Sri Lanka, but other than exempted articles which are referred in Part A of the first schedule. When consider the persons who are providing of any services, the first one is the financial services. Any person who engage in supplying financial services in Sri Lanka, the turnover is the amount receivable by such person for providing financial services, but excluding the exempt services referred to in part 2 of the first schedule. In case of a person who is engaged in the business of real estate and improvement, the turnover is the value ascertained under the subsection 7 of section 5 of the Value Added Tax Act, but does not include any exempt services referred to in part 2 of the first schedule of the act. Any other services other than financial services and real estate and improvement, the sum receivable from the provision of such services in Sri Lanka, but does not include the exempt services referred to in part 2 of the first schedule. In case of a wholesale and retail sale, the turnover is the sum receivable by such person from the sale of any article other than any exempted article. For the purpose of wholesale and retail sale, the exempted articles are given in the part 1b of the first schedule. When we say the wholesale and retail sale, it includes import and sale, also locally buying and selling. Any person who is liable to Social Security contribution levy is required to register for this tax. If a person is already having a taxpayer identification number, such person is required to submit the completed application form for tax type registration of Social Security contribution levy to the relevant branch. If your income tax file is handled by any unit of the head office or Scout building or in Mehevara PSA, then you are required to submit the tax type registration application form to the tax type registration unit at the second floor of the head office. If your income tax file is handled by any metropolitan or regional office, then you are required to submit the tax type registration form to that relevant metropolitan or regional office. If you don't have a taxpayer identification number, you have to obtain the taxpayer identification number before you register for Social Security contribution levy. You can obtain the taxpayer identification number through e-services in IRD web portal or by furnishing the application form for obtain the taxpayer identification number to the primary registration unit at the head office or any metropolitan or regional office. After obtaining the taxpayer identification number, you can submit the tax type registration form for the registration of Social Security contribution levy to the tax type registration unit at the head office or to any metropolitan or regional office. The relevant application for registration could be downloaded from the Inland Revenue web portal. You have to follow the link download forms and returns, and under that tax registration you can find the relevant application form. The persons who are liable to Social Security contribution levy should pay the Social Security contribution levy at the rate of 2.5% on the liable turnover. For every person, the liable turnover is given in the second schedule of the SSCL Act. In case of importation of any article, the levy should be paid on 100% of the import value, and the levy will be collected at the point of importation by the Director General of Customs. In case of a manufacturer, 25% of the turnover is liable to Social Security contribution levy. Any person who is engaged in supply of financial services is required to pay the levy on 100% of the value addition which is attributable to the financial services, and this value addition should be calculated by applying the attributable method specified in the Gazette notification issued under Section 25C of the Value Added Tax Act. For the provision of services under real estate and improvement, 100% of the turnover is liable to this levy. You can calculate the turnover by deducting the market value of the bare land from the total sale value of the real estate and improvement. Other than financial services and real estate and improvements, for any other services, Social Security contribution levy should be paid on 100% of the turnover. In case of wholesale and retail sale, there are two categories. First one is registered distributor. 25% of the turnover of a registered distributor is liable to Social Security contribution levy. As per the Social Security contribution levy act, the registered distributor in relation to any manufacturer or producer of any goods in Sri Lanka means any person or partnership appointed by such manufacturer or producer for the sale of goods manufactured by him in the wholesale market at the price determined by such manufacturer or the producer. Other than registered distributor, any other person who engage in wholesale and retail sale is required to pay the Social Security contribution levy on 50% of their turnover. Social Security contribution levy should be paid in self-assessment basis on every month. When we consider a relevant quarter, the first installment should be paid on or before the 20th day of the second month of that relevant quarter. And the second installment should be paid on or before 20th day of the third month, and likewise the third installment should be paid on or before the 20th day of the month immediately succeeding the end of that relevant quarter. Social Security contribution levy can be paid to any branch of Bank of Ceylon. When you make the payments, you have to correctly fill the paying in slip. So you have to fill the TIN number and other details together with payment period code and tax type code. The payment period code should be in correct format. First you have to mention the year, then quarter, then the number 0, and then the month of that relevant quarter. As example, if the payment is relevant for October 2022, payment code should be 22401. First two numbers represent the year, then the October is in the fourth quarter, so that we put the number 4, then 0, and October is the first month of the fourth quarter, so the final digit is number 1. The tax type code is 32. Once you have registered for Social Security contribution levy, you have to pay the levy irrespective of the turnover limit for registration. Even your turnover for a relevant quarter does not exceed the registration limit. That means when we consider the quarter, it should be 30 million. If your turnover does not exceed 30 million rupees, but you have to pay the levy for that quarter. In the Social Security Contribution Levy Act, there is no provision for input tax credit or for any refund mechanism. But if any person has paid the levy or penalty in excess, such amount is considered as an advance payment for the next quarter. So the excess amount can be carried forward to next quarter. The returns for Social Security contribution levy should be furnished on or before the 20th day of the following month of the end of that quarter. There are provisions provided in the Act for the cancellation of registration. However, you can apply for the registration at any time after the lapse of period of 12 months from the date of registration. For that, you have to make a request to the Commissioner General. If you have ceased your business or if the aggregate turnover during immediately preceding 4 quarters of relevant quarter does not exceed 120 million. In those situations, you can apply for cancellation. The exemptions from the Social Security Contribution Levy are given in the first schedule. When we consider the exempted articles, Part 1A of the first schedule provides the exempt article for imports and manufacture. Part 1B of the first schedule provide the exempt articles relevant for wholesale and retail sale, and exempted services are mentioned in Part 2 of the first schedule. If you want more clarification on the legislation or registration of the Social Security Contribution Levy, you can contact the officers in Tax Policy and Legislation Unit or Business Consultation Unit through these numbers. Thank you.